in 2020, but the Future Ready Iowa initiative that the Governor Reynolds has really talked a lot about, I think is a key piece of legislation that will help upskill Iowa's workforce. There's direct dollars to those individuals that are going to community college, or maybe those individuals who have completed part of their education but not all of it and they want to go back to college. There are opportunities and dollars available for them. There's also opportunities for employers to work with nonprofit organizations for the Employer Innovation Fund to come up with unique proposals for wraparound services to help upskill employees. So I think that's a key initiative that we were very supportive of. We are planning to support that again this year, making sure that appropriation continues. I think Empower Rural Iowa is another initiative last year.
Divine Intervention at AM 1400 with Mayor Matt Bemrick.
Boss, head man, top dog, big cheese, a head honcho.
Call now. 515-955-1400.
And by the way, we do have YouTube on featuring the mayor. If any of you folks out there care about that, seems to be up and running. We did start a little late today with the mayor's portion because the mayor was late.
I was.
Yeah. What were you doing now? What sort of
I was
huge
in
work?
a meeting with a potential mall developer.
Potential mall developer.
Yeah.
Okay.
Going over kind of timelines and next steps and getting ready for closing dates and all kinds of different things.
Oh, so we're moving forward
We are moving forward
on the mall project.
on the mall project.
Wow. Can you give us any
There's
information?
really nothing to tell you today. That's super exciting. We were talking about things like closing, cross-access agreements, old parking rules with the you remember the last time we had a mall redevelopment project, there was a cross-parking, cross-access issue.
I remember, yeah.
So we're making sure that the legals on some of that stuff is all getting fixed and things like that. Nothing like, talking about what stores are going in or anything like
Sure.
that.
Okay.
I would much rather be in that meeting, but this was more. This was a little more mundane,
All right.
a little more nuts and bolts, agreement languages and old easements, old parking agreements, all that kind of really, really boring stuff.
Well, it's not really boring to me.
It kind of is. I mean, everybody wants to hear like, oh, what stores are going there, and how they gonna lay them out, and how's this gonna look, or what's that gonna look like? Yeah, we weren't doing any of that fun stuff.
Well, I do have business listeners, and now those are the sort of things that that they're interested in. I always kind of prided myself that a lot of business people and professional class people listen to the program. Maybe not as many as used to because I've grossed a few of them out. But
Really?
yes, I have.
I can't believe that.
I understand some of the Catholic ladies in your end of town are upset that Bernie Sanders is comparing himself to John Kennedy.
Yeah. There was one in particular that
There was
didn't like
one
that.
in particular. Well, I sent your mother a note on Facebook, and of course, my mother flipped out completely when John Kennedy was elected president.
Yeah.
It changed. I really think it changed her life. And she still to this day refers to him as Mr. Kennedy.
Oh yeah.
Mr. Kennedy. So it was a big deal for Irish Catholics back then. I was
Absolutely.
just a kid, and I didn't realize the significance of it at the time.
Yeah.
I didn't realize that there was that much anti-Catholic prejudice then, and I don't see much of it now. But as I got older, people would insult me for being Catholic, and I'd throw rocks at them.
Oh, well, that's
So-
one way to deal with it.
So there it was. So we got it all taken care of.
Yeah. Well, good.
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 I am glad to see that, according to Senator Tim Kreinbrink at the Eggs and Issues last week, that this broadband nonsense proposed by Senator Dawson out of Council Bluffs, I got to get a hold of Dawson and saying how much they paying you, man. Come on. This just didn't grow out of your brain. I mean,
Finally, ladies and gentlemen, he's starting a conspiracy that doesn't involve me.
yeah. Oh, yeah. No, I'm not. But nobody does something like that down there unless they're getting juiced a little bit.
Well, they're getting poked to do it by somebody.
Poked,
probably.
yeah. Poked by
I don't
a roll of dollar bills
Yeah,
or $100 bills.
I doubt it, but
You
you like those conspiracies, so I'll let you roll with it.
I think our old friend Baltimore got roaming around down there, and he found.
Yeah. I literally, that piece of legislation came out. I think we talked about it a little last week.
It came out. It came out just as you were coming on the air.
Yeah, and I sent it.
Yeah.
I sent you a link to
Yeah.
it, and we talked about it a little bit. And I also contacted Senator Kreinbrink and Representative Myers and a few other people I know in the legislature and down in the Des Moines network. And Senator Kreinbrink, I didn't go to Eggs and Issues, but my understanding was he said, well, Matt literally, that bill came out, and like 5 minutes later, Matt already knew it was out.
That's exactly what he said. That's exactly what he said.
Yeah, so
well,
I'm paying very close attention.
Well, Tim came in the next day to be on the
Yeah,
show,
yeah.
And, tomorrow we'll have Representative Sexton, maybe Ann Meyer, I don't know, but we'll have the Scrapser for sure. They're going to kind of take turns as the session goes by.
Sure.
But, yeah, Tim said, well, that was fast. And he'd already been in contact with Senator Dawson. He said,
Yeah.
those guys are so polite to each other.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's a job. It's not personal. You're doing a job.
Yeah.
That's part of the problem with, I think, politics right now is it's become so personal instead of about the work that people draw lines in the sand that are very difficult to cross.
Well, there's a lot of hatred, frankly.
Yeah.
There's
Yeah.
I've been warning.
I mean, you read stories and hear stories of back in the day, two Democrat and Republican senators standing on the floor and barking at each other and then walking out the back and giggling in the hallway about, boy, you got me on that one, or, oh, gosh, when you said that, I didn't know what the hell am I going to say next.
Well,
that kind of stuff.
I told you the story about Vice President Dan Quayle and Senator Lloyd Benson,
Yeah,
didn't I?
yeah.
Quayle, but Benson just laid Quayle out during a debate and shook up Quayle really bad.
Yeah.
That wasn't necessary, Senator Benson. And then, like the day after that, or that was a Monday night, and by Tuesday or Thursday, they were out playing tennis together.
Yeah.
They didn't get. I mean, that was.
Yeah, but I mean, you're just not seeing a lot of that, where hey, we can leave it on the floor and then we can go to dinner, or we can go to the same social function tonight and be, just regular guys and say hello to each other. Or
we expect our representatives, and every section of the state has a right to expect their representatives to strongly advocate
on their behalf.
On their behalf, absolutely. And I don't see anything wrong with that. I don't see anything wrong with strong words being exchanged on occasion. I don't know. There's so much nastiness at the national level, and I've told my liberal friends over and over again who are screaming and hollering about Trump. I said, "What do you think is going to happen when Trump's gone? Because he's going to go. He's going to be gone sooner or later. Then where are we going to be? We're still going to be hating each other." Probably.
Well, I mean, it went on through the Obama era with conservatives that absolutely hated Obama, and they went after him and they screamed about him and whatnot. And now you got the other side doing it about this president. I mean, it's kind of seems to be a wave, and just changes who's in which position.
Yeah, but Obama was cool and Trump isn't. I mean, I should say he was cool about people taking great issue with him, and Trump, he just fights
Trump
back.
just fires back.
He just gets as nasty as they do.
Yeah.
AM 1400
Sometimes.
KVFD, good afternoon. You're on the air with the mayor.
Hi, I have a funny question.
Sure.
The Democrats were on for 3 days, Channel 8, that's all you see. And now the Republicans are on.
I'm sorry, could you speak up a little bit? We can't hear you.
And now the Republicans are on, and they're on some channel we can't get. What's the deal?
That is Matt
Couldn't tell
Bemrick's
you.
fault.
Yeah, I did that in my spare
He's a
time.
Democrat, and he allowed the Democrats on during the impeachment time.
Right.
And then he called the powers that be.
Yeah, and
they
I
have-
shut the signal off.
They have. That's right. They have shut. Oh, I think if you go to CNN, they'll have it.
I haven't watched it on regular TV at all. I've mostly been watching it off of Twitter feeds
Really?
most of the time.
Did you try CNN, ma'am? It's channel 60 on my Mediacom.
Well, I don't have Mediacom, I have Dish.
I don't know about
Fox
Dish,
News wasn't showing it either?
Fox or MSNBC or.
I don't know.
it's
I
just the
rarely
Democrats
watch regular
Channel
TV.
8 all tied up for days.
Oh, channel 8. Is that KCCI you're referring
Yeah,
to? CBS.
Well, the Democrats had it on for days and days, and now the Republicans, we the questions we can't.
Well, I think they're in league with the devil, and that's why we have these things
Oh,
happening.
you're right. I called the right number. Bye.
Yeah, I don't know. It's funny though.
Yeah, I've only watched a very little bit of it.
I've watched some, mostly off of either Facebook feeds or Twitter feeds. Mm-hmm. And there's a lot of just kind of repetitiveness. So, I'll be watching something, then I'll just shut that off, and I'll switch to a different, recap of this person talking to that person. It seems like a broken record a little bit.
I think it's an embarrassment for everybody involved. I mean,
I don't know.
People are carrying on like lunatics and saying all kinds of outrageous things. It's just embarrassing. I think. I mean, I'm old enough to remember the
Nixon.
the Nixon things, and those were interesting.
Well, and Clinton was a weird one too. I don't know.
Clinton, not so much, for the same reason that the Trump thing isn't so much. The Republican House impeached Clinton, and everybody knew that the Democratic Senate wasn't going to impeach him. It's reversed now, of course.
Right.
That the Democrats absolutely were going to impeach Trump in the House, but I think the chances are next to none that Trump will be impeached by the Senate. The Republican Senate, it's a partisan show. Now,
well, he's been impeached. Now he has to be found guilty or innocent of the charges.
Right. Well, that's the same thing that happened to Clinton.
Right.
And
he was found not guilty.
Yeah, that's right. He was found. Well, he was acquitted in the Senate. Yeah.
Correct.
He actually did, and he was.
But he was impeached.
Yep.
By the House.
You know what he was impeached for?
Same thing. Yeah, let's not go down this road.
Okay.
I know you want to go down this road,
in charge,
but let's not.
He was charged with 11 felonies, including lying under oath, which, by the way, he was guilty of. But that's okay. No, I mean, and
this conversation can go south very quickly.
Very, very quick. All right.
Because I know where you want to take it, and I'm really not willing to participate.
Actually, I don't. I know you suspect that, Matt, but I really don't want to.
All right. If you want to stick to the process portion of the impeachment, I'm fine with that. But I don't really want to get into the details.
I don't want to. I don't want to do that. Really, I'm just sick.
Let's talk about some city stuff. Tell me about what you're hearing on deer hunting. I heard Dr. Mankey was on this week and did a thorough job of educating you about
bored the hell out of everybody. And I told him, just let me and some of my friends.
Doc Terry, you're picking on Doc. He's a good researcher. He went out and
top flight.
He did the work.
I got to work with him on his voice work. No, Terry, emphasize a little bit. And now, today, from Councilman Mankey's office. Now I got to do something about that. No, I told him, of course, to let me and some of my friends get in our pickups and run up and down North 15th Street in 20th and 5th Avenue South, yelling, "Yeah!" and shooting our guns. That's what I want to do. Mankey didn't think that.
I don't know if that'll work.
Well, come on, man. We'll chase the deer out of town. I can tell you that.
It might move them 100 yards, but it ain't gonna chase them.
Oh, if they're dumb enough to stand within 100 yards of us, we'll get them. You ever hunt deer?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Did you get any?
Yeah.
All right. Did you hunt with bow or rifle?
I've never done bow hunting.
Never. Neither have I. But that's an idea for.
I've actually gone deer hunting 6 times. I have never shot a deer. I've shot at one deer. I'm always the guy that's like, sitting up on a hillside in a ravine, and these guys are gonna walk this pasture and push them out of the pasture into the ravine or whatever, and they always walk up on the other side of the ravine and then down in front of my buddy 100 yards down, and he shoots a great big, beautiful buck, and nothing walks by me. I missed like a little, 4-point buck. It was a very young buck. I shot at him. I shot right under him. He ran down the creek bed, and another guy shot him a couple 100 yards down the creek. And that's the only time I've ever shot.
Well, I really think if you're going to hunt deer, you got to be Denny Plouts.
Yeah,
he'd be the only man I would know that would sit out there for hours on end.
See, and I never did that kind of deer hunting where you just go sit in a tree stand and hope that they get in range.
Yeah, come by. Yeah.
Never did that. It was always kind of like a group hunt where you get like 8 guys and you post 4 guys up on a hillside, and they try to push them into a ravine, and they run down through the ravine, and you try to shoot them.
I did do a little work on the history.
I've been a much more avid pheasant hunter.
Me
that's
too.
Kind of my favorite hunting is pheasant.
Me too. I got an AK for that,
That's probably the wrong gun.
I did do some research into deer hunting in cities in Iowa.
Yeah, there's quite a few.
And really, there have. I mean, the first one that popped up was Iowa City. And I thought, gosh, the People's Republic of Johnson County are going to allow hunting Bambi in their precious little town.
After enough people hit them with their Audis and BMWs.
But they hired a professional group out of Kansas.
There is different ways to do it.
Yeah. AM 1400 KVFD, good afternoon. You're on the air with Mayor Bemrick.
Yes, I just have a question. I know that the dams are completely removed. Is that project completed at this time?
No, the dams are not completely removed. There is still work to be done on the big dam. I believe the little dam is 100% complete for the removal portion. But the big dam, I think there's still work that has to be done. I was talking to one of our engineers the other day. The problem is the contractor, he goes by the, there's an actual spot in the river that tells you what the level of the river is. And he's saying it's still too high for him to work on that. The problem is that flood monitoring station is downstream from the big dam, and it's actually got an ice dam somewhere close to it, which is causing it to show that the river is actually higher than it really physically is upstream by the big dam. So we're having a little bit of trouble getting him back here to get to work on that, but it sounds like he was maybe coming next week.
Yeah, wasn't the contract supposed to be completed over in December of 2019?
I don't recall off the top of my head. You evidently might know that. Maybe you read it or something.
I was at the meeting over when they let the bid down. That's the only reason I remember it.
Yeah.
But, no, thank you for answering my question. I appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you for calling. Yeah, if you have a question or comment for Mayor Matt Bemrick, it's 515-955-1400. Yeah, any topic is fine. 515-955-1400. We're going to take a short break, but just before we do, Menke and I talk practically every week about KDG and how frustrated a lot of us in town are with KDG's performance in regard to the warden. Mm-hmm. Is there any conversation about, splitting that bag with KDG and seeking other ways to accomplish our goal with the Warden Plaza?
There is a path to terminate, but you can't do it without cause.
Okay.
Now, can you come up with a justification for cause? Most likely, yes. But you got to understand that you could also create a litigation issue that could lock that building up even longer.
Sure.
So a solution that would be if they don't perform and get an application in on time, that failure to perform would hopefully, if that happens, would give the city the ammunition to go say, hey, you need to just turn this back over to us. We're not going to litigate this stuff. Just give us back the property and you go on your way, we'll go on our way.
Yeah.
I always would caution, if you push too hard, you could get yourself in a position where litigation could basically lock that building into a gridlock, and it could take 5 years to unlock that.
I understand.
Versus negotiating.
Yeah. Well, KDG clearly hasn't lived up to its end of the agreement. Clearly. Have we lived up to our end of the agreement as a city?
I believe yes. I don't believe we've done anything that would prevent them from being able to do their work. Can you think of something?
I can't think of a single thing.
Well, you kind of asked it like you might have been leading to something.
Well, I didn't know.
No.
You're awfully suspicious of me in your old age.
Well,
yeah,
probably.
Okay.
But, my brain's gone through 14 different galaxies this afternoon.
Well, I understand. Men get a little cranky and suspicious when they get older, cranky, like the mayor.
I'm not cranky or suspicious. It's just my brain is tired.
Is it really?
Yeah, I've gone through a lot of different stuff.
You need several drinks at Amigos and a pizza.
I might.
I may do it myself.
Yeah.
All right. Mayor Matt Bemrick is here. We'll be back.
Here's the AM 1400 KVFD weatherology forecast. Chance of snow this afternoon, otherwise cloudy skies expected. High temperatures reach up to 30, south winds 8 to 15 miles per hour. Chance of snow again tonight, lows level off around 28, overcast skies. Snow likely tomorrow, high temperatures reach up to 33. About an inch of snow tonight through tomorrow. From the Weatherology Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Jennifer Wojcicki. Currently, it's 30.
Here's a look at how the markets closed today. March corn down 4 3/4 at 379.5. May down 4 3/4 at 384 3/4. July corn down a nickel at 389.5. September down 4 3/4 at 387 1/4. March soybeans closed down 16 3/4 at 876 1/4. May down 16.5 at 890.5. July down 16.5 cents at 904 1/4. August down 16 cents at 909 1/4. March wheat closed down 1 3/4 at 560.5. Soybean meal down 460 a ton at 291.50. February live cattle up 2 cents at 121.77. April down 2 at 120.20. January feeder cattle up 35 cents to close at 142.45. March up 67 at 135.65. February lean hogs down the $3 limit to close at 61.30. April limit down at 65.82. I'm Dwayne Murley.
This is AM 1400 KVFD, the voice for Dodge. It's 4:42. We'll get back to Mayor Matt Bemrick here in just a couple of minutes. Obituaries this hour brought to us by the historic Bruce Funeral Home at 923 First Avenue South here in Fort Dodge. You may contact the historic Bruce Funeral Home by calling 515-576-5117 or online at www.brucesfuneralhome.com. Mr. Rick Scherf has passed away. Rick D. Scherf of Fort Dodge died last Sunday at his home at the age of 60. There will be a funeral service for Mr. Rick Scherf, and that'll be at 10:30 in the morning Saturday at Corpus Christi Church here in town. Burial will follow at North Lawn Cemetery. Obituaries this hour brought to you by the historic Bruce Funeral Home at 923 First Avenue South, Fort Dodge. You may contact the historic Bruce Funeral Home by calling 515-576-5117 or online at www.brucefuneralhome.com. It's 4:43. The mayor's next.
Did you know that the IRS is getting more aggressive these days and they're using private collection agencies to track you down? Don't wait. If you owe more than $10,000, then you need to take action. Take advantage of the Fresh Start Initiative, a program in place that can help you now. If you qualify, you can save thousands. Call about the government program designed to help you and call Oxford Tax, the Fresh Start experts. If you qualify, they will stop the IRS collection agencies from coming after you within 24 hours. Oxford Tax has an A+ rating with the Better Business Bureau and will fight to get you the best deal possible. Get the break you deserve and call about the Fresh Start Initiative or even a settlement now. Call Oxford Tax now at 800-549-8040. Hurry, or it will just get worse. Let Oxford Tax stop the IRS from targeting you within 24 hours. Call our helpline now at 800-549-8040. That's 800-549-8040. It's important that you take action before programs change. Call Oxford Tax at 800-549-8040. 800-549-8040.
I'm Charles Payne, and this is the Fox Business Report.
The major averages finishing higher, erasing earlier declines after the World Health Organization said it wasn't recommending restrictions on international trade and travel. With the Dow rising 125 points, NASDAQ up 24, S&P 500 up 10, and a changing of the guard at IBM. Ginny Rometty is stepping down as CEO. Its board naming Arvind Krishna as new CEO effective April the 6th. Rometty will continue to serve as IBM's executive chair till the end of the year when she will retire. Krishna currently is IBM's senior VP for cloud and cognitive software and was a principal architect of IBM's acquisition of Red Hat Software. Shares of IBM are spiking on the news after hours. And Amazon's fourth quarter sales hitting record numbers and the company's profits beating Wall Street estimates. Its shares are soaring in the extended session and trading at a record high. That's your Fox Business Report. I'm Hillary Barsky, invested in you.
Prescription products require an online physician consultation and are only available if the physician determines a prescription is appropriate. Subscription required. See website for full details and important safety information.
Hey guys, good news. The expensive Little Blue pill is now generic, which means the prescription medication to treat ED is super affordable at 4hims.com. And now get your first online doctor's visit free at 4hims.com. That's right. Zero copay, no awkward face-to-face conversations to get your prescription. That's really good news. To start your free online visit, go to this exclusive address, 4hims.com/joy. That's FORHIMS.com/joy.
Divine Intervention at AM 1400 with Mayor Matt Bemrick.
Boss, that man, top dog, big cheese, a head honcho.
Call now. 515-955-1400.
Okay, Mayor Matt Bemrick is in the studio, so if you have a question or comment for the mayor, it's 515-955-1400, 515-955-1400. Let's kind of finish up with the deer thing. It sounds like we're going to do something. Do we have a couple of councilmen working on it, or what's...
No, so what I did is I have copies of pretty much every ordinance that's been put in place in the state of Iowa. I gave them to our associate city attorney, Ryan Kim. Mark Crimmon's son-in-law. He's a partner in his firm. Mark's actually gone right now. And Ryan Grunberg with the police department, I got them to basically creating like what you would call like a SWOT analysis of here's how all these different cities do it. And here's the things that we understand have worked well. Here's things that you might not want to do that they did, that they learned from. And then we'll take that, have a workshop, talk about here's how we would draft an ordinance. Is there input to some of these scenarios that the council has or the public has? And then we'd bring an ordinance back to the table, and it'd be up to the 7 council members to say, yes, we'll allow it, or no, we will not.
Yeah, well, Fort Dodge has always had deer,
Yeah,
Years
but it has, to the defense of the people asking, it has really, really grown.
Oh, I
the number
believe
of
that.
deer is much larger than it was when I was a kid.
Yeah.
I grew up right across the street from Isaac Walton Pond, so it was not unusual to look out across our front lawn down to the pond in that big green space out in front of the lion's den there, and see 3 or 4 deer.
Yeah.
Not too long ago, I was down there for an event and went to leave, forgot something, and I had the key because, well, it's the home builders steak fry. I had the key, so I went back down there later that evening to get what I had left there. It was a phone charger. Anyways, nobody cares about that part. And when I pulled into that lot, it was like maybe 10:45. There was like 25 deer there.
Wow.
They were everywhere. I was like, holy cow. They were just bedded down all along the road, out in the middle section. And there were deer standing around behind the lion's den. Now, none of those deer were there when all the people were there.
Right.
But as soon as we all had vacated the park, because the park closes at 10, and I think we went to Amigos or somewhere. When I left Amigos, I went back by there to grab my phone charger. Well, and I was like blown away by how many deer were down there. And you talked to last year, Ryan Grunberg had some of the officers start to do some counting, like out by Woodlands, up by Gunderson Funeral Home, a couple of other key locations. Hey, when you drive by there, try to get a quick count on how big the herd is. And they were counting very large numbers, high teens into the 20s of herded up groups of deer. Some of the problems with herded up groups of deer can be inbreeding, chronic waste disease.
That's always
other
a problem.
Things like that.
Inbreeding with deer is always.
It can be expedited and made worse because they don't move around much. They stay in their herd in a certain proximity.
Yeah.
Because they don't have a lack of food, shelter, or what they need.
They
water.
follow the buck around. Male supremacy. Deer male supremacy.
Oh, I love how you always turn everything into something goofy. Anyway.
See, I saw a buck get killed on Highway 3 in Humboldt, and the rest of the deer just stood there because they didn't know what the hell to do. There's a message there somehow. The buck is laying on the ground all beat up and dead, and the rest of the girls are just, what?
Yeah. So, I think there's a logical reason to do it. I think there's ways to write an ordinance that creates the opportunity to do it, but still takes into account people's private property rights and protection of their environment around them, aesthetically as well as safety-wise. So we'll try to figure that out, and if it works, it works. If it doesn't work, the council can modify it, change it, or just eliminate it. And there are other options. There's tranquilizing and hauling the deer out. There is some reproductive drugs that can be used on salt licks and things that basically make the female deer sterile. There's different things you can do. So it'll be up to the council ultimately to decide. I, for one, support the idea of allowing a safe hunt within the city's legal jurisdiction.
Right.
If we take into account the safety of it first, and secondly, other people's private property.
My God, you're going to sterilize Bambi's mom?
I knew saying that to you was a bad idea, but whatever, I did it anyways.
You know, checking out what happened in Iowa City, you know, Iowa City is really what, peace, love, dope town, you know, and God, I used to have a lot of fun down there. But anyway.
And we've had a committee for about the last 2 years. It's made up of some law enforcement people, some hunters, some just interested people, some insurance people, because they deal with claims on cars, you know, people hitting them with cars, different things like that. I think it was pretty unified that, yes, we agree we have a problem. Mm-hmm. What's the solution? We never really came to that. And, you know, this petition's kind of pushing that envelope and making us bring that conversation from a committee level to council chambers.
Sure, yeah.
It's good democracy. It's
good democracy. Okay. So it's not going to be popular vote by hunters themselves. Anyway, what I was trying to say about Iowa City is there was remarkably no protest in Iowa City when they decided to shoot deer in the city limits and hire a professional firm. You would think that the supporters of Bambi's mom everywhere would have come out of the woodwork in that town. But apparently they were also sick of the deer wandering all over the place that they were ready to take drastic action. And they hired...
You know, we have the same kind of problem with geese to a certain extent.
Geese?
Geese. Go down on the trail by the river at certain times of the year and the thing's covered in goose poop. You know, I mean, there's
I know how to take
hundreds
care
of
those
geese,
guys.
and those geese will be quite protective of their nests.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they'll chase joggers and bikers.
You bet they will.
Yeah,
they don't. They're
chase not really scared. I mean, out at Lakeside Golf Course, I remember a goose chasing me in a golf cart.
Oh, there's no doubt that they do that.
Yeah. So I mean, we've got a lot of geese too. I'm not
Big old
advocating we go out and start shooting geese in town, but. There's ways cities have had to deal with that. My brother lives in the Chicago metro area, and they've had to like get big groups, DNR type groups that have come together, and they net them, and then they drag them off, take them to a different location, drop them off. A couple weeks later, they're all back again.
You know, that's an imperfect solution.
Yeah.
That's just an imperfect solution. So. Really, if you really want to get serious about the deer herds. You know, something like sterilizing.
The hunt might not be the end-all solution. It may rise to the having to bring professionals in, tranquilize, take the deer out. It could come down to putting out salt licks with that potential that you would sterilize female deer.
Right. Or give impotence drugs to the males.
Well, maybe they have that drug too. I don't know.
I don't know, but I can tell you that
the little bit of research I did, it was geared more towards making the female deer non-productive.
Very sexist.
Not able to
do it anymore.
To reproduce.
Huh?
Well, they're able to do their thing. They just can't have a baby from a doe. Can't have a fawn.
Well, we'll just have to consider that. No, that is really a hunt, ladies and gentlemen, and I can bring Aaron from the Iowa Outdoor Store here and some other longtime deer hunters.
Yeah, I don't think Aaron would mind me saying this, but he was on that committee.
Oh, was he really?
Yeah, he was one of the people. Now, one of the ideas I had, and the reason I wanted to involve Aaron is, one, he's an avid hunter and he understands the safety of this stuff. But two, if we're going to allow hunting in the city and the use of a bow to do so, we want to make sure the person that gets the permit or the license to do so is actually qualified to shoot a bow and arrow. So we most likely would require some type of formal shoot where you have to go to a place like his archery range and shoot and prove you can hit what you say you can hit.
Mm-hmm.
So we don't just want a bunch of guys to all of a sudden just say, well, I'm going to go out and buy a bow tomorrow and I'm going to become a bow hunter. You know what I mean?
Fun hater.
So you want to make sure that they have the proper skills in order to use that bow and arrow, and that they can shoot it properly and understand the safety behind it.
Yeah.
So
well,
it's just something I think makes sense. It's logical to me.
Nobody wants a 30-aught.
No high powers or shotguns.
No shotguns? Really? Because you got to shoot
It'd
them
be
with a
bow
slug,
only.
I suppose, huh?
Yeah, it'd be bow only.
I think Iowa City used the sharpshooters. They came
They
out
did.
at night.
They did.
They came out at night and
They probably
lured
used silencers.
They did, and they lured the deer with food and these sorts of things.
And then they shot
they
'em.
waited till they got a bunch of them and shot them.
Yeah.
And Aaron, I don't know if he said this or not, but Aaron would tell you, I think, that that's a short-term fix. I mean, you can shoot a lot of deer, and you can send all the meat to the county homes or the food pantry or wherever, but they're going to reproduce fairly quickly.
They will. That's why a consistent annual hunt may be a better solution than just a one-time pay a group to come in and do that.
You think so?
I think so. Plus, they had to pay that group to do that.
Yeah, oh, sure.
And in this circumstance, people would actually be paying us to get a license to do the hunt.
Of course, if you paid this professional group, they're insured.
Correct.
And
yeah, there's pluses and minuses to almost any system you come up with.
I bought a couple of deer stamps in my time, but I don't think I ever bought insurance.
Probably
to
not.
hunt.
Probably not.
Okay.
Your homeowners could have a rider or something.
Something, yeah. Who knows? I don't know.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
I don't know either. Matt Bemrick's our guest at AM 1400 KVFD, the voice for Dodge. If you have a question or comment for the mayor, you better hurry because time is running out. Gosh, there was some other big deal I wanted to talk to you about that was happening in town. What else happened at that council meeting? Minky was pretty thorough on Tuesday, or Wednesday, as he always is. What the heck did he bring up? Oh, criminy. Oh, yeah. Why does Andy get to sit next to you, by the way?
You'd have to take that up with Andy. It's not my job to pick their seats.
Yeah,
It's
okay.
done by a seniority pool type thing. You know, they start with the most senior and say, where do you want to sit at the table? They work their way down to the bottom of the list, and they all pick their location. Andy evidently talked to Lydia and got that seat.
Or he just kicked Lydia out of the way.
He just really wants to be close to the gavel so he can grab it.
He can grab it again, huh? In case he needs to.
That only happened one time.
I think,
just the one time.
All right. I wonder if he's thinking he wants to be mayor when you ever
Maybe he
step aside.
does. Maybe.
There's a couple other councilmen there that frighten me with their ambition to be a mayor.
But, I mean, I have not officially said I'm not running.
Oh, I know you haven't. But you like Donald
I've
Trump.
alluded to it a little bit.
Yeah. You, like Donald Trump, will leave office sooner or later.
Yes.
So
everyone does.
That's the great thing about our
Whether
system.
it's at the will of the people or by my choice.
Right. I think you're going to be are you going to run for Congress? Come on.
I don't know.
That would be so cool. I would totally be your communications director.
Would you?
I would.
Ah.
What's Matt Bemrick's position on this? Shut up!
Would you run my Twitter account for me? That'd be scary.
Oh, yeah. I think I'd really like it. I could work with your sisters and your wife, and we'd torment the whole area.
Yeah, we'll see what happens. I got 2 years left.
I know you do. I know you do. But again, ladies and
you know,
gentlemen.
we're celebrating, I believe it's next month in February. You and I will have been officially on air together for 10 years.
Wow.
10 wonderful, wonderful
years. Never once did he bring me donuts like his predecessor.
I did not. I did bring you a fruit basket once.
Well, now I got diabetes, so I can't use the donuts anyway. But I even had Allstott trading to bring in donuts for a while and cookies. And Kim would go get the day olds at Hy-Vee.
I mean, it'll be a weird thing not to come do this show.
Yeah, you know, and maybe I'll retire before
you might retire before I'm gone.
Yeah, you never know what's going to happen. You never know. I'm back and forth on retirement so many times. Anyway, it's 4:59. I guess we're out of time here with the mayor. Do you have any closing thoughts or not?
It's been suggested to me that we have a party to celebrate our 10th.
Here in the
10th
studio?
year.
Or?
No, we do a remote somewhere.
Outstanding idea.
Why don't
Top
we do
hat?
it? No, not the top hat.
I'm in. The hat. Yes. We'll be down at the lunch counter and everything.
Stay tuned, listeners. It will not be there, but we might do this somewhere. It'll be kind of fun.
Thank you for listening. It's 5 o'clock. KVFD 4 Dodge.
Hi, this is Gary Rima, the voice of the University of Northern Iowa Panthers, and this is the home for Panther sports, the voice of Fort Dodge, KVFD, Fort Dodge.
This is a Fox News alert. Drilling down. I'm Lisa Lacera. Lawmakers continue to get into the details at the impeachment trial of President Trump, sending questions to the Chief Justice for each side to answer. Fox's Jared Halpern live on Capitol Hill.
Another day of questions from senators is forcing arguments over the president's intentions in withholding aid to Ukraine and whether it was politically motivated.
Why would he be willing to withhold hundreds of millions of dollars from an ally at war if he didn't think it was going to really benefit his campaign?
Lead impeachment manager Adam Schiff says senators should use common sense. White House counsel Pat Cipollone argues mixed motivations fall short of impeachable standards.
I mean, you might want to get a lock on that door because they're going to be back a lot if that's the standard.
And Democrats are also trying to convince at least 4 Republicans to support witness testimony. Otherwise, a verdict vote could come tomorrow night. Lisa.
Jared, the president, meantime, in Michigan at a manufacturing plant, touting the signing of the U.S.-Canada-Mexico trade agreement.
So we've done all these things, and remember the tax cut was the biggest tax cut in the history of our country. And what do? They impeach you. Explain.
Tonight, the president holds a campaign rally in Iowa. The coronavirus now declared a global health emergency by the World Health Organization. Fox's Gernal Scott has this live.
Well, Lisa, the designation comes out of concern not only for the spread in China, but also around the world. WHO Director General Tedros Ghebreyesus says it could overwhelm weaker health systems.
We must act now to help countries prepare for that possibility.
The emergency declaration brings with it more money and resources to combat the outbreak. It also comes as the United States and a handful of other countries report the first confirmed person-to-person transmission of the virus. The U.S. now with 6 confirmed cases, Lisa.
Thanks, Gernal. America is listening to Fox News.
New year, new budgets. Every small business has unique needs. When you partner with a Dell Small Business Technology Advisor, you get real-time, tailored advice. They'll even give you a free audit on your servers and storage devices to develop a custom solution to help improve your company's productivity. Plus, right now, upgrade to Windows 10 and get up to 45% off select business computers with Intel Core processors. To speak with a Dell advisor, call 877-BY-DELL. That's 877-BY-DELL.
Ah, the copperhead snake. It hisses before attacking. But that's not a copperhead. That's the Sullivan's RV freshwater tank overflowing into their black one, which is backing into their vent pipe, making for a very different kind of attack. One that arrives just in time for taco night. It's wild out there. When it gets too wild, Progressive has your RV covered. Quote today at Progressive.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates.
With your KVFD news update, I'm Rob Jones. A Fort Dodge man was sentenced to prison earlier this week after being found guilty on a drug charge. Blaine Stockwell received a 10-year sentence for possession of methamphetamine with intent to deliver. The charge stems from an incident in the fall of 2019 in which Stockwell was apprehended at the Kings Point Resort in Storm Lake, and police found 32 grams of methamphetamine in a room there at the resort. At the time of that arrest, Stockwell was wanted on a warrant here in Webster County. Fort Dodge City Councilman Terry Minke was a guest on Divine Intervention with Mike Devine on KVFD AM 1400. During the appearance, he talked about the topic of the city possibly allowing deer hunting to help cut down on the deer population.
My main concern is the liability issues, and not only for the city but for the property owners. You do have to have permission in order to hunt deer on private property. There would be restrictions as far as how far away the people could shoot the deer. Obviously, we're talking bow hunting at this point. We're not going to have people out there with rifles and shotguns inside the city limit.
A group of Fort Dodge residents signed a petition that was presented at Monday night's city council meeting. Mickey says liability is a concern for the city.
There was a law passed recently, Chapter 461C, that does address the liability issue. Is say you shoot somebody's dog or cat instead of a deer, or if you hit a house. Archers do have to be vetted. They have to prove that they're actually capable of hunting, and that's been part of the discussion ever since day one. But if they're going to be using city property, there is a liability issue. If somebody does get hurt, there's probably more people that fall out of tree stands than there are get hurt hunting any other way. So again, the city does have to be protected if they do something like that.
Fort Dodge Mayor Matt Bemrick stated at Monday night's meeting that the petition is a good motivator. In sports, college basketball from last night, the UNI Panthers routed Missouri State 95-66 to complete the season sweep of the Bears. UNI would start fast, scoring 51 points in the first half to take a 20-point lead into the break. 4 Missouri State players in double figures, led by Keandre Cook with 16 points. UNI had 5 players in double figures. A.J. Green led the way with a game-high 27. Austin Fife added 17 points, and Isaiah Brown with 16 points and 9 assists. The Panthers have now won 7 of their last 8 in Missouri Valley Conference play. For KVFD from the Jerry Sheeter Newsroom, I'm Rob Jones.
Here's the AM 1400 KVFD weatherology forecast. Chance for snow tonight, otherwise overcast. Lows level off around 27. Sound wave.
Live from the headquarters of Ramsey Solutions, broadcasting from the Dollar Car Rental Studios, it's the Dave Ramsey Show, where debt is dumb, cash is king, and the paid-off home mortgage has taken the place of the BMW as the status symbol of choice. I'm Dave Ramsey, your host. Thanks for joining us. Open phones at 888-825-5225. That's 888-825-5225. 5225. Bo's going to start off this hour, and that's assuming Dave Ramsey knows how to open a radio show. All right, Bo's in Kentucky. Hi, Bo. How are you?
Hey, Dave. I'm doing great. How are you, my friend?
Better than I deserve. How can I help?
Big fan, first of all. I got a question for you. I'm a realtor, and I had a friend approach me who had been considering investing some money in rental real estate. But he's put those plans on hold due to what he termed the Dave Ramsey 5% rule. And so I was wanting to get some clarification from you on that.
I don't know what the Dave Ramsey 5% rule is.
Well, I didn't either. So I went to your website, and he pointed me to your website, and then found a blog post from January in which whoever's writing it is recommending not to have more than 5% of your net worth tied up in real estate investments. And it seemed to me in listening over the years
that's on my website? I'm so sorry.
Yes, sir. Well,
so it's January. Let me get the details so I can get that crap down. So January 2019?
Yes, sir. It's from January 14th. No, I'm sorry, 2020, just a couple weeks ago.
A couple of weeks ago. Oh, good. That'll be easy to get down. What's it titled? Stupid?
Investing in real estate, and it's written in Chris Hogan's voice, actually.
Okay. All right. Well, maybe Chris was being stupid, so I'll still take it down. Okay. Chris Hogan's voice is like Chris should have read it. So, all right. Anyway, we'll fix that. There is no such thing at Ramsey.
Okay.
So it's bad. It's a bad blog. I'm sorry. We screwed up. We do that sometimes. We put out thousands and thousands of pieces of content a month, and sometimes we get out of alignment on what's smart and what's not. Listen, dude, I have way more than 5% of my net worth in real estate. Way more.
That's what I thought.
Yeah, like the building I'm sitting in, $70 million paid for in cash. So, I mean, that alone, that alone kind of tilts the dadgum table. Okay, so... and I bought a whole bunch of real estate, tens of millions of dollars of real estate in 2008 that's now worth 5-6x what I paid for it. So I've got hundreds of millions of dollars in real estate paid for, so there's no possible way 5% of my net worth is real estate. Nor would I recommend that if you love real estate. If you love real estate, you can have all your net worth in real estate except for some cash. You might want to have 5% in cash if you got a lot of real estate. Right. You don't want to be. A lot of real estate people are stupid and they're illiquid. They have no cash and they go broke because they get slammed. But I love real estate. I don't mind if you got it all in that. I wouldn't personally recommend that. I would say you need to have some in mutual funds, some in real estate. But we should not have written things here or suggested things here that are perpendicular with what we actually do. That would, by definition, make us hypocrites.
Well, I didn't know. It seemed surprising to me. I told him at first that he didn't know what he was talking about, but he pulled up his phone and showed me.
I'm glad you told me, because I would have told him he didn't know what he's talking about. I know. So it's perfect, yeah, and yet it's on my freaking website. It's just proof that anybody can screw up. So it'll be down by, I don't know, probably it's already down. So it's probably being done as we speak.
Good work out there.
Yeah, hey, man, thank you. Thanks for calling in and straightening us up, because, hey, man, sometimes we just screw up around here. That's all right. Open phones at 888-825-5225. Brandon is in Florida. Hey, Brandon, welcome to the Dave Ramsey Show.
Hey, Dave, how you doing?
Better than I deserve. What's up?
Terrific. I am, I guess, kind of on baby step 6. And the reason why I say kind of on baby step 6 is my current house that I live in is paid for. And while I was buying this, I had a previous house that I owned when we bought this house, and I still have a mortgage on that previous house, which is now a rental. And that's the only debt that I have whatsoever at all. And my 6 months emergency fund has come up to be almost equal to what I owe on that mortgage at the rental.
Mm-hmm.
And I am contemplating liquidating my 6 months emergency fund and paying off the mortgage. And I wanted your opinion on that.
I think that would be a huge mistake.
Okay.
Paying off your mortgage is not an emergency. And you leave yourself vulnerable. You're sitting there with no cash and paid for houses. Transmission goes out. What are you going to do? Dig up a bush?
I have $10,000 that I keep in my regular checking account. And that's always I never go below $10,000.
What's your household income?
It's been my $130,000.
Okay, so what do you call your 3 to 6 months of emergency fund? What's a properly funded 3 months, and what's a properly funded, therefore, 6 months?
What I have in it right now is $84,000.
No, that wasn't what I asked. I asked what's properly funded. If you make 130 if you make 130 and you have and you lived, what's your household expenses to operate your household a month?
About $3,000.
Okay. Round it to 5. 3 months is 15. 2 months or 6 months is 30. Okay. 30 is your emergency fund, not 84.
Well, it's just been sitting in mutual funds ever since I originally set it up.
That's fine.
And
I got no issue with that.
Right.
But my point is that your question is, should I use up my emergency fund? And you've got $10,000 sitting there in liquid cash for purposes of covering emergencies, and you make 130, and your emergency fund should be 30, and so you shouldn't take it below 10 plus 20 is 30. So this other account should not go below 20. What's the mortgage?
Right now it's 90.
Okay. And you have 84 in the other said account, correct?
Correct.
Okay. So I'd put 64 on it this afternoon, and then I would hammer it over the next 3 or 4 months and knock it off.
I've been paying an extra $800 on it every single month, just trying to work on knocking off.
I'd do more than that.
And I was just
I'd do more than that.
Seeing what it is.
It's all you got left. It's all you got left, and you're willing to go down to the nub, man, to do it. So let's go down the nub in your budget, and just smack the snot out of this thing. It's what I would do. But I'm not taking you below 30K cash position, because this is not an emergency. Okay. You do what you want to do. You ask my opinion, and that's what I would do. Because every time I violate that, because it doesn't bother me to do it. I'm not. I mean, I don't like high risk stuff because I don't like to lose money, but I can handle the emotional tension of being down to only $10,000 in your situation. But every time I do that, crap happens, and I needed 30. And then there I sit, looking like I didn't have an emergency fund, and I had an emergency. It looked dumb. So I wouldn't do it. I think you're like sending out an email to Murphy saying, come screw up my life. Don't do it. Don't go below 30. I wouldn't. This is the Dave Ramsey Show. Pure Talk USA saves you money. Donald from Minnesota said, we switched from Verizon to Pure Talk thanks to Dave Ramsey. I was skeptical, but after leaving the big city and traveling to a rural area, service coverage never lapses. We're also saving $40 a month. Guys, Pure Talk USA has the same great coverage for less and no contracts. Try it risk-free today. Call pound 250 and say the keyword Dave Ramsey.
Christians have an affordable and credible way to meet their overwhelming healthcare costs. It's Christian Healthcare Ministries, the original health cost sharing ministry. A Better Business Bureau accredited organization, CHM members share to pay each other's medical bills. It's not insurance. It's Christians financially and spiritually supporting each other. It's what CHM has done for over 35 years. Learn more at chministries.org. That's chministries.org. Christian Healthcare Ministries is a proud sponsor of Dave Ramsey live events.
Let's talk taxes. A lot of things in life have high levels of difficulty, and when you're not an expert, you can really mess it up. Tax filing is one of those. If you just have a W-2, it's pretty easy. With a little bit of knowledge, you can do your own taxes. But when you start adding things like side hustles, real estate, and investments, you can wind up making mistakes that cost you a lot of money. At that point, it's better to work with a tax advisor, like one of our tax-endorsed local providers. For 20 years, our ELP program has been matching people like you with qualified tax advisors in your area. These are people that my team has vetted. They have the heart of a teacher and a track record of success. If you're not sure if you should be using a tax advisor, take our free tax filing quiz. You answer a few questions, and we'll tell you the smart